These are the times that try optimistic athletic directors' souls. Your women's basketball team goes to a 19-0 lead at Radford, and then they lose by 15 points to fall to 0-3. Well, I want to ask Scott Carter about that because it is the telling thing. But I had him on here to talk about ETSU potentially getting a home playoff game. We just spoke with bracketologist Joe Stenardi, who gives ETSU a 90% chance of making the FCS playoffs. About the only way I can see them not doing it is if Furman wins the tiebreaker and Samford really lays a pasting on ETSU this Saturday at the stadium that should be named after John Robert Bell. But these games, these initial opening round games, the ones that don't have a seed, are you have to bid on getting a home playoff game. It's the way it's been for quite some time. I can remember 1996, Scott Carter, when ETSU was in the same boat. And I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on bringing in a home game to Johnson City for a potential first-round football playoff game to Johnson City?
Well, that's certainly an opportunity we would be thrilled to have. I think our team's played a heck of a season. I think they have far exceeded most of the expectations that the world had for them, and we are very, very formidable in Green Stadium. Our record there speaks for itself. It's been great these first two seasons we've had a chance to play there. So while we've not been selected yet, and really no one has until the 18th, this coming Sunday during the selection show, I think at 12:30. We're excited about the opportunity. It's made for great, I think, water cooler conversation around the region. So I guess we're approaching it with humility but aggressiveness. We're trying to be prepared, obviously, for what we hope will be playoffs, in Johnson City. But as you said a moment ago, there's a lot of work still to be done. Saturday at 1 o'clock, playing Sanford at Green Stadium, which is really the focus of our football program, our coaching staff, our players, is going out taking care of business on Saturday.
Now, I know you have some great promotions around that game. Let me ask, though, it would seem it's not a sellout. Is this a disappointment for you that you still have good seats available for the ball game against Samford?
Well, this is actually tracking very similar to several of our other sellouts earlier in the year. We've only got a few hundred tickets that do remain. So, they're moving very, very quickly, and I hope we can get to a sellout. I've been pleased with the way they've moved. I think, the students have picked up a very, very good share of the allotment of their tickets. There's still a few there as well, but I'm not disappointed at all. I think our fans are answering the bell. I think they've given us a lot of their reservation interest, you might say, with regard to the playoffs. Nobody's been charged for playoff tickets, but we've obviously been taking interest about that and putting people's credit cards down for a reservation. So there's great interest, obviously, around the championship game versus Sanford. As you mentioned, a few hundred tickets are left, but I've been very, very pleased with that response. I'd love to get to a sellout point next day or two. And I think the weather's going to be gorgeous, which may have something to do with it, too. The last few days, obviously, it's not been the best to think about being outside, but I think Saturday's going to be beautiful.
Yeah,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was saying it makes one wax poetic for the mini dome to a certain extent, but yes, go ahead, Scott Carter, go ahead. The one thing I wanted to ask, forgive me for interrupting, but you said you were taking credit cards down for playoff games. That would imply to me that assuming ETSU wins the game or makes the playoffs in that large, but you're really going to try to bid and get that home playoff game. Is that what I'm hearing for you? If you're taking down credit card orders for a potential playoff game?
Absolutely. We've actually already submitted our bid and showing our interest in hosting the playoffs. You have to do that. The NCAA required deadline for that was this past Monday. So we've already submitted our interest in hosting. It's a very quick turnaround, as we were just talking about, between the games that will conclude on Saturday to the bracket that will be formally announced on Sunday. So I think the NCAA basically, through the committee, gets all the interested parties together and then certainly evaluates the final results of the last Saturday of the season and then starts basically making their projections, fills in their brackets, and finalizes the playoff structure. So we submitted our bid. We are reaching out to our season ticket holders first and then the community along with them to put in what we're calling reservations is the best way I know how to frame it. It's not a purchase yet because no one's charged, but they're letting us know the reservations they'd like to have should we be fortunate enough to have another game in Green Stadium.
Okay, now it seems to me that the way the playoffs would work, you're probably going to play in the first round of the playoffs, assuming ETSU makes it, which looks like a pretty good bet, to be honest with you, is you have to play a team within 400 miles. And I'm looking at the teams that would probably make the FCS playoffs in the bracketology. Most people have ETSU playing either Elon, Jacksonville State, James Madison. I've made the drive from Johnson City to Pittsburgh a lot. It's 400 miles. Now, whether it's 405 or 398 or so, forgive me, I'm not quite sure what the ETSU to the Duquesne campus is, but I think that would be a school that would be within 400 miles. That's what I'm told as well. So I guess there's the off chance that could happen. But I get, how much money do you have to bid to host a playoff game?
Well, every school obviously, does it in a different manner, I'm sure, but there's a formula the NCAA basically gives to you, and it's all predicated on ticket sales or expectation of ticket sales, and we've got a pretty good just history of being able to look at, what our attendance could be and what we hope it to be, and there's a minimum per round, so you bid a minimum for the first round, second round, third round, and fourth round, and it goes up a little bit with every round. The interesting part is the second round, those games are pretty well static. The top eight seeded teams are guaranteed to host that round. So those that the playoff committee seed 1 through 8, which conventional wisdom would probably say North Dakota State will probably be the 1 seed, obviously. 1 through 8 gets a first round bye and is guaranteed the second round host. So that's a factor that you think about through the equation as well. So I think people have done it different ways. A lot of people have capacity opportunities with the size of their stadium. Some people have premium seating opportunities with seats and suites and club seats and things of that nature. So you factor all that into the equation, and then ultimately, get your best foot forward in the NCAA and let them know what your projections are. And I think there's other criteria, obviously, that they look at. They look at the well-being of student athletes, which you mentioned, that 400-mile radius, where they miss an excessive amount of class time during their travels. Is the stadium technically equipped? There's a whole bunch of questionnaires that we have to ask, that we have to answer with regard to instant replay and locker rooms and all types of things to make sure that the facility is up to par, which obviously Green Stadium is beautiful and brand new, so it fits all that. But it's a pretty intensive process. All
right. Now, what is the minimum bid?
The minimum bid for the first round, I think, is $30,000.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So there you are there. All right. So there you get that. And I guess one thing to look at is also the attendance. I don't have it in front of me, but of Elon, Jacksonville State, James Madison against ETSU. And I guess potentially also, I'm trying to think. I know Duquesne would be within 400 miles. I could look at some other schools. I guess Eastern Kentucky has a snowball's chance of making it as well. But, you can look at some of the other schools around there and who you could host. It's not done by seeding. Like, I want to mention that. I was told it's not done by seeding. I want to talk about that. Now, ETSU is the SoCon champ. They might not get the automatic bid on tiebreakers, but you're going to get at least a share of the Southern Conference Championship. So it's first time football program has ever won it. You've got those years, 1938, 1962, and 1969 already up. Does 2018 go up on the stadium wall, even if you don't get the automatic bid, even if a loss to the Bulldogs happens?
You know what? That's a conversation we haven't had yet, because we're trying to keep everybody obviously focused on beating Sanford. And I think in life there's times where it's okay to share. We would rather not share.
Sure.
This championship. So I'll need to probably answer that question for you maybe down the road, Marky, but I know where you're going. We want to celebrate the accomplishments of this season, but we'd really like to celebrate them as the outright champion.
62 was actually a tied Ohio Valley championship, too. So just state that. That's one of the things. Now, they didn't have a playoff back then, but I just wanted to throw that out. Hey, you got to be upset with what happened on the women's hardwood up at Radford. I know with that Tiana Tartar, the women's basketball team is 0-3. I'm curious, you're the athletic director. After a situation like that, where a team has a 20-point lead after a first quarter, and they wind up losing by 15, do you call Brittney Ezell up into the office and say, what's going on?
Coach has got my undivided support. I've not spoken with her yet. Matter of fact, I've not even had a chance to see the game. I followed it on social media in the midst of some meetings that I had to sit in with being an unusual tip-off time at 11 a.m. in the morning. So I know what happened. Obviously, you've described to me what happened. I haven't seen it from my own two eyes. I do think our team has been playing very, very well in some games early, and then we've had some challenges late, But Coach has my utmost confidence. She always has. I think she's got a great group of young women. It's still very, very early in this season. And I look forward to talking with her about supporting their next time out as we host Troy in here on Monday at 11 a.m. for our very own Education Day. I'm
trying to figure out, and I got 1 minute left here, Austin Herink as where he ranks among all-time ETSU quarterbacks. Well, you watch him every week, but you played with Todd Wells. Am I correct on that? You were on the same team with Todd Wells.
Yeah, Todd's a good friend.
Okay, so who's better, Todd Wells or Austin Herink?
You always ask the tough question. Very different quarterbacks, Marky.
Yeah.
Very, very, very different. Todd, we ran a very different style offense then. He could beat you with his legs. I think it's maybe not the total offensive leader in the Southern Conference for total yardage, but was unbelievable. I would tell you it's one of those age-old debates when you take old guy versus young guy. I'll just say this. I think we're all extraordinarily proud of Austin Herink, the leadership he's provided this football team. The guy just finds a way to win. And, Todd Wells, I was blessed to play with him, and occasionally he would give it to me as a fullback, so I really enjoyed that as well.
Well, there you go. Finds a way to win. Like I said, 15-point comeback against Western Carolina, but his touchdown-interception ratio was 0-3. It's kind of reminiscent, if you're an old football fan or a historian like me, Billy Kilmer. He didn't look that pretty, but he did take the Redskins to the Super Bowl at one time. Scott Carter, thanks for joining me here. So we know, look at Elon Jacksonville State and James Madison attendance versus ETSU for a potential first-round playoff game, but the minimum bid was sent in. Tri-Cities Sports Center. Tomorrow we're going to talk to Jason Grooms. He's a bracketologist, as well as Jerry Bonkowski on NASCAR. Thanks to Scott Carter. Thanks to Justin Artie. Colin Coward's next. Thank you.